This is the news feed at noon.
State leaders are labeling El Paso as ground zero for South American gangs. What the district attorney of the city has to say. And where does the U.S. rank worldwide when it comes to healthcare? Plus, a soccer player will make her World Cup debut. We'll explain why this situation is so unique. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on the newsfeed at noon. Summer temperatures are still hanging around. We thought fall was coming in, but those high temperatures are continuing. We had a small break with that cold front last week, but as we transition into fall, the atmospheric pressure becomes more unstable, and with that, more humidity and in turn, heat. No rain as of yet, though. Some of us will see some cloud cover, but most of us will have that direct sun, so stay hydrated. Currently, not much of a difference across the board. High 80s, low 90s, but that heat index, that's where that can get very, very dangerous with those high pressure systems rolling from the west. That real feel will hit triple digits for most counties in the Metroplex. Looking at your weekend, tomorrow we'll hit a high of 97, a little cooler on Sunday at 94 with that overcast, highs staying mid to high 70s. And the Cowboys are playing the Ravens on Sunday, so it's important to stay hydrated, use sunscreen if you're watching the game outside. Coming up, we'll take a look at possible precipitation the early part of next week. Some temperature drops, nothing too significant, but moving toward fall, and that full 7-day forecast. Tarrant County commissioners voted 4-1 to add more polling stations across the county instead of removing several college campuses' early voting locations. Judge Tim O'Hare was the only one who voted against polling sites open at TCC South and Northeast campuses. UT Arlington and Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary. O'Hare questioned the need for college campus sites when voter turnout is lower. The sites are close to each other and parking is inaccessible. 101 people signed up, leading to a session that lasted more than 5 hours. A San Antonio judge has denied an effort to prevent the mailing of voting registration applications in one of Texas's largest counties. Commissioner in Bexar County approved a plan to mail more than 200,000 applications to unregistered residents. Bexar officials used an outside vendor for distribution, and that move led Republican State Attorney General Ken Paxton to file a lawsuit. Paxton argued that it's illegal to arrange a mass mailing of registration applications. Critics saw Paxton took action because the San Antonio metro area of Bexar County tends to favor Democrats. AI is becoming more widespread, and colleges are finding ways to use it ethically in coursework. TCC's AI Task Force has named the initial winners of the AI Innovation Award, which recognizes exceptional, ethical, and inventive use of artificial intelligence. This award is intended to promote the integration of AI across different areas, support innovative applications that improve student outcomes, increase program efficiency, and advance thought leadership. Katsuhiko Oda, Associate Professor of Geological Information Systems, Cindy Allen, Assistant Professor of English, and Caitlin Ortiz, Assistant Director of Educational Partnerships, are this year's award winners. Congratulations to each one of them. The massive pipeline fire that started Monday was still burning yesterday. Crews in Deer Park near Houston towed away the vehicle that set off the days-long blaze when it slammed into an above-ground valve on the natural gas pipeline. The SUV crashed through the fence of a nearby Walmart before hitting the pipeline. Authorities haven't yet confirmed the driver's identity or said if the person survived the crash. The blaze forced evacuations and left thousands of customers without power. Evacuation orders were lifted Wednesday evening, and residents were allowed to return to check on their homes. Robert Robertson set to be executed next month, but he is appealing his sentence. Robertson was sentenced to death in 2022 for the shaken baby death of his daughter 2 decades ago. The 59-year-old filed a writ of habeas corpus on August 1st to stay the execution, which the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals denied last week. Now, he's presented a clemency petition to the Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles, and Governor Greg Abbott claiming he was sentenced for a non-existent crime. His defense team says it's now believed the girl died of septic shock following a severe infection that was missed by doctors. The El Paso district attorney is reassuring the public the city is still a safe place. Those comments come after state leaders said El Paso was ground zero for the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. Tony Gutierrez has the details.
That needs to be clear. El Paso is not ground zero for TDA activity.
El Paso District Attorney Bill Hicks says Tren de Aragua is in El Paso, but the city is not infested with their gang members. ABC7 had previously reported the now closed Gateway Hotel was allegedly housing members from the Tren de Aragua. Hicks says that's not why the county sought to close the hotel.
There were another numerous violations that relate directly to the running and operation of the hotel.
DA Hicks says identifying Tren de Aragua members is difficult.
They don't follow a lot of the same patterns that we've seen in other gangs that we're more used to dealing with. They just have a very different mentality. They operate differently.
As we reported this week, Texas law enforcement officers will work to create a database to help identify the gang's members. Hicks says it is likely some took part in riots at the border this spring where many migrants were detained.
It is also possible there were a great larger number of TDA gang members simply by who we're looking at. A large number of Venezuelan men in military age coming across at one time.
Hicks says 2 people charged in connection to the riots are confirmed Tren de Aragua members. He says his office will take all necessary measures to disrupt the Tren de Aragua.
We're coming after TDA. We're going to continue to protect our community the best we can and with all resources available.
Underfunded or mismanaged, Julia Binbrook joins us next with the latest on the Secret Service.
Achieving my goals as an adult was challenging without a high school diploma. With the help of an adult education center, I finished my high school diploma and it changed my life.
This yearbook is a testament to your accomplishments and how they have impacted all of us.
Getting my high school diploma made me feel like I can do anything. Now I can help the kids in my community achieve their dreams.
When you graduate, they graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you.
Hey, boss. Okay?
Said I'm fine.
See you in the morning with the frosted Superman, but it wasn't on it, and we lost it.
You can talk to me.
It's been really, really hard for me.
When I came back from the war, I was barely hanging on by a thread. I'm here today because of Tanya's relentless efforts in trying to get me healed. And says, Michael, I know you've got a plan to take your life today, but if you give me just 5 more minutes to love you.
5 more minutes, 5 more minutes, honey, 5 more minutes to love.
Michael has actually taught me what it looks like to accept help. Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
The United States ranks last when it comes to key healthcare measures compared with other high-income nations. Around the world, according to a new report by the Commonwealth Fund Research Group, Americans are sicker, have lower life expectancies, and struggle to afford essential healthcare. Researchers compared the U.S. to 9 other high-income counties. They noted people living in the U.S. face the most avoidable deaths. The U.S. also had the highest rates of excess deaths related to the COVID-19 pandemic for people younger than 75. The group said the U.S. can expand insurance coverage and reduce complexities of insurance plans. The top 3 performing countries in the report were Australia, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom. In the wake of Sunday's apparent assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump, lawmakers are considering whether the U.S. Secret Service is underfunded or simply mismanaged. Our Washington correspondent Julia Binbrook has details on the discussion.
At his first campaign event after a second apparent assassination attempt, Former President Donald Trump praised the Secret Service while also acknowledging resource concerns at the agency.
These guys do a great job. Now, they do need more people, and they've been complaining about that for a long time.
President Joe Biden has also emphasized he believes the Secret Service needs more personnel to handle an elevated threat environment for political candidates.
One thing I want to make clear, the service needs more help, and I think the Congress should respond to their needs if they in fact need more services. So that's what we're going to be talking about.
While lawmakers on the Hill say they are open to changes,
we want to get a report on this latest incident. If increasing the funding is part of the solution, I'm for it.
If the Secret Service is in need of more resources, we are prepared to providing it for them, possibly in the upcoming funding agreement.
some are still contending with whether the Secret Service is underfunded or simply mismanaged. And many have questions about what meaningful security improvements can be made with less than 50 days until the election. As investigations are still underway regarding the two major Trump incidents, the Secret Service's acting director says he will work with Congress to address the security gaps exposed. Reporting in Washington, I'm Julia Benbrook.
For the first time in the Biden presidency, the Fed cut interest rates with less than 50 days before the election, making the move a bit of a political football. Brian Abel reports from Washington on how the presidential candidates are reacting and using the cut.
After over 3 years of grappling with the economy crippled by COVID, Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris celebrating Wednesday's Federal Reserve interest rate cut in a campaign statement calling it welcome news. The timing of the cut, though, is leading her opponent, Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump, to question whether the Fed's move is a political one.
I guess it shows the economy is very bad to cut it by that much. Assuming they're not just playing politics, the economy would be very bad, or they're playing politics, one or the other. But it was a big cut.
Some experts and economists, however, dismissing those claims.
The job market's roughly where it should be. Inflation is getting back down to where it should be.
Look, if the Federal Reserve were trying to influence this election, trying to help Democrats, they would have cut rates 9 months ago.
President Joe Biden saying this about the Fed cut in a Thursday economic speech.
I think it's good news for consumers, and it means the cost of buying a home, a car, and so much more will be going down.
Only time will tell if voters will feel the impacts of leveling inflation and the rate cut, or if they'll believe it's political smoke and mirrors before casting ballots in November.
As much as people like to put the election on the Fed's shoulders, the Federal Reserve does what it does when it thinks it's possible to do it and when it thinks it needs to do it, not answering to any politicians.
In Washington, Brian Abel reporting.
Kentuckians who live near the site of this month's I-75 shooting might feel a bit safer today. The Kentucky State Police Commissioner says the search is over for the man who allegedly shot 5 people in that state. Officials confirm they have found his body, though their investigation continues. The discovery is likely a relief for people south of Lexington. It seems to end 11 days of worry that an armed and dangerous mass shooting suspect was potentially on the loose. They say 2 troopers and 2 civilians discovered the remains not far from the shooting site. Keep it here. You're watching the NewsFeed at noon.
You know you don't have to wear your PT gear anymore, right?
It's comfortable.
So how's civilian life treating you?
It's fine.
When I got out, I didn't want to admit that there was anything wrong because I felt like a failure. And then I realized, there's nothing to be ashamed of. So I started talking to someone. Maybe you are fine, but if you're not, it's okay.
Thank you.
If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Have you ever helped a fellow veteran?
Of course.
Yes. Have you ever asked for help yourself?
It's always tough, right? I always feel like I can solve my own problems, but eventually, you just can't deal with it on your own. And you start to question, maybe people would be better off without me. When you realize that you're not alone, once you take that first step, there's so much support.
Even the mighty might not see it coming.
It's prediabetes, and it captures 1 in 3 adults. But you can escape. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test to know where you stand and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Be your own hero on smartphones everywhere at doihaveprediabetes.org.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. 2 milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
The sad reality is fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kids should know.
We thought summer temperatures were over, and yet high 90s continue to come into the DFW area and for much of Texas. The heat is back. Right now we're at 93 degrees. It's only going to get hotter. High of 99. Heat index in Fort Worth will hit 102. Some counties may even feel a real feel of 105. As we progress into the evening, temperatures will continue to drop. We may see some cloud cover roll into tonight and tomorrow morning, nothing too intense. This weekend, it will stay warm, high 90s. Sundays, the Cowboys are playing the Ravens. So if you're going to be outside, whether it's watching the game outside, tailgating, going to the game, it's important to stay hydrated and protect yourself from those high temperatures, especially with that high heat index. These temperatures are technically above seasonal norms, yes, but in previous years, we didn't really see a significant drop, at least temperatures below 80 degrees till the middle of October. With hurricane season over, 2024 was actually below average for the number of tropical storms and their severity, which I know many are incredibly thankful for. The average was around 9, but this year we only saw 7. The severest of those storms stayed south, near South America, the Gulf Coast, before moving into the United States. And as it moved into the United States, most of them weakened from a hurricane to a tropical storm as it continued to move east. Looking at the next 7 days, you'll see a pretty steady drop in those highs compared from Sunday to the end of next week. The lows will stay consistent, mid to high 70s. That pattern is going to be pretty consistent as we move into fall and that first part of winter. We'll see warmer afternoons and then a significant drop overnight and cooler early mornings as that cooler, drier air starts to move into the area. But look, the biggest thing, rain. Monday through Wednesday, we will see some form of precipitation. At least 50% of us will see some rain. Now, nothing too severe. It's going to be steady, but nothing that brings a storm watch. There's no storm watch as of right now. This week, it's not Sunday, Thursday, or excuse me, next week, Thursday is when the Cowboys play the Giants. Temperatures will be relatively comfortable, but it's something to watch this week. Harvest season is underway for California wineries, but the swing in temperature is impacting the grapes. From summer heat to unexpected fall-like lows, farmers are struggling with the changing weather conditions. Madison Keevy has the details.
I think every farmer, at harvest time is watching the weather very closely.
Especially when it feels like fall today. But this time next week, we're back to what'll feel like summer.
After that, all this activity scoots out, and then you guys, we got to talk about this heat up that we're going to be dealing with. It's going to feel more like summer.
Growers that make up the Lodi Wine and Grape Commission are in a race to harvest against the heat. The cooler temps keep the grapes from dehydrating, but that's not the only harvest holdback.
We are picking as fast as we can. In many cases, the growers are limited by what the winery's ability to bring in the fruit, process it, ferment it, and turn it into wine, which takes time.
I set out for answers about weather impacts, but the executive director of the Lodi Wine and Grape Commission said it's the challenge of market conditions that may have a longer lasting impact.
So there's decreased demand for wine and grapes. And so we've seen a lot of vineyard removals this year, and we've seen grapes that have been left on the vine and vineyards that have not been farmed. And so across California, we're going to see quite a bit of a lighter crop this year.
So it is on camera.
My son, Ricky, took his life by the use of a firearm. It broke me in ways that I never knew that I could be broken. And I contemplated suicide. I still own my firearm. I keep it in a safe because I want to keep my grandson and myself safe. Store your gun securely, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo.
Hey, boss. Okay.
He said I'm fine.
Put me to bed, see you in the morning. With the frosted Superman, but it wasn't on it. And we lost it.
You can talk to me.
It's been really, really hard for me.
Achieving my goals as an adult was challenging without a high school diploma. With the help of an adult education center, I finished my high school diploma and it changed my life.
This yearbook is a testament to your accomplishments and how they have impacted all of us.
Getting my high school diploma made me feel like I can do anything. Now, I can help the kids in my community achieve their dreams.
When you graduate, they graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you.
Hey, boss. Okay.
He said I'm fine.
Put me to bed, see you in the morning. With the frosted Superman, but it wasn't on it. And we lost it.
You can talk to me.
It's been really, really hard for me.
In Arizona, a 15-year-old soccer player who was recently discovered by recruiters is about to play in an important game. She's heading to the Dominican Republic to make her debut at the Mexico U17 Women's World Cup. Here's Patricio Espinoza.
On one side, the Arizona sunset, and on the other, a full moon showing up. And in between, young girls, all ages, and full of dreams of one day playing professionally. The game, known around the world as football, here we call it soccer. And tonight, among these girls, one is getting a chance of a lifetime. Now you're 17.
I'm 15.
15?
Yeah.
Are you going to go to the World Cup?
Yeah. I'm excited. It's a great feeling.
And how is Anaya getting to the Under-17 World Cup, playing not for her country of birth, the U.S., but for Mexico? You are a dual citizen.
Yeah.
So you get to represent the United States or Mexico.
Well, my grandma's from Chihuahua, and then so my mom's half Mexican. So then I got the Mexican citizenship.
Anaya has grown up at this club. She looked just like these girls when she started out here. She will not be alone. All of us will be right there alongside of her while she's in the World Cup. Let's give her a round of applause.
She may be strong on the soccer field, but tonight I can see tears in her eyes. After all, this field has been home for the last 10 years.
I think for her it's a dream come true. I mean, she's a player from the time that she was 6. She wanted to be a professional soccer player. And I think she's on the road to playing on the world stage and hopefully accomplishing her dreams.
Who wants to play like that? Me! Yeah. Yes, dreams do come true, but there's more. Anaya is not just playing for her. It seems, know it or not, she's also paving the way for those who follow.
I want to go to the World Cup.
Awesome. What's your name?
Olivia.
Olivia. How old are you, Olivia?
9.
9. Well, good luck. We'll see you in the World Cup. Patricio Espinoza, ABC 15, Arizona.
And in addition to that soccer, we also have Cameron breaking down sports.
The Dallas Cowboys are preparing for a fresh start this Sunday. They're looking to pick up the pieces from last week's demoralizing defeat at the hands of the New Orleans Saints. This marks their first loss of the season and ends a 16-game home winning streak. After a subpar performance, Dak Prescott looks to regain the trust of Cowboys Nation. After a game where Prescott completed only 27 out of 39 passes for 293 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions at a critical moment. The defense also played poorly, giving up 190 yards on the ground and 242 yards through the air, for a total of 432 yards. Alvin Kamara was a huge contributor with 115 yards combined, rushing and receiving, totaling 4 touchdowns, 3 on the ground, and won through the air. The Cowboys now sit with a record of 1-1, creating a three-way tie with the Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Cowboys are looking forward to Sunday's game against the 0-2 Baltimore Ravens, aiming to kick a wounded dog while it's down and get back into the winning column. Game 2 is at 3:25 at Jerry World.
Thank you, Cameron. The newsfeed will return after this.
When I came back from the war, I was barely hanging on by a thread. I'm here today because of Tanya's relentless efforts in trying to get me healed. And says, Michael, I know you've got a plan to take your life today, but if you give me just 5 more minutes to love you.
5 more minutes, 5 more minutes, honey, 5 more minutes to love.
Michael has actually taught me what it looks like to accept help.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
You know you don't have to wear your PT gear anymore, right?
It's comfortable.
So how's civilian life treating you?
It's fine.
When I got out, I didn't want to admit that there was anything wrong because I felt like a failure. And then I realized, like, there's nothing to be ashamed of. So I started talking to someone. Maybe you are fine, but if you're not, it's okay.
Thank you.
If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Have you ever helped a fellow veteran?
Of course.
Yes.
Have you ever asked for help yourself?
It's always tough, right?
I always feel like I can solve my own problems, but eventually, you just can't deal with it on your own. And you start to question, maybe people would be better off without me. When you realize that you're not alone, once you take that first step, there's so much support.
New York police have arrested a suspect who they say stole an empty subway train and then crashed it. The incident was called into police just after midnight last Thursday. The crash caused damage to the train, but no injuries were reported. The suspects, 1 male and 1 female, fled on foot. A 17-year-old girl was arrested. She is facing charges of criminal mischief and reckless endangerment. Police are still looking for the male suspect. The Beaumont Police Department is boasting that they really deliver. An officer literally delivered a DoorDash order in place of the delivery driver he arrested on the way to the home. The homeowner was clearly surprised and confused. The driver had several warrants out for his arrest and was hauled off to jail. You are about to see video of a dramatic rescue that played out on a busy road. It shows a sheriff deputy in Michigan climbing between 2 moving vehicles to save a man who was in distress. Tiara Braddock has the story.
The person you see dangling out of the patrol car in this video is Deputy Nicole Myron.
I pretty much hung out the window like as much as I possibly could, and the vehicle was pretty close, so it didn't make it too tough.
Deputy Myron carried out this daring move on September 12th after the Macomb County Sheriff's Office was notified that someone in a pickup truck was driving erratically, going southbound on Gratiot Ave near Church Street in Mount Clemens. Once Myron got closer to the truck, she noticed a man who appeared to be having a medical emergency.
I just was trying to think of any way possible to stop the vehicle and try to get his attention. Nothing we were really doing was working.
At one point, the man was able to roll down his driver's side window, and that's when Myron climbed through it.
Once I get in, I realized the park's right at the steering wheel. I put it in the park immediately as soon as I got in the vehicle, checked on him. He was just in a daze. He wasn't sure what was really going on.
Myron didn't pull this one off alone. Her partner, Deputy Anthony Gross, was driving the patrol car at 5 miles per hour.
Once she started hanging out the window, I was just trying to keep us in line with him. I just focused on this mirror and his mirror, just trying to keep us in line.
Not to mention, Gross was recently promoted to road patrol. He was still in training when all of this happened. Were you nervous?
A little bit. I was kind of just in the zone, just trying to make sure my partner was safe.
As for Deputy Myron, she's been with the sheriff's office for over a decade.
I'm just doing my job. I think anybody else would have done the same thing that had the chance.
You think someone else would jump through a window?
Another deputy would have done the same, or any other officer I think would have done the same if they had to do it. I mean,
you're in those positions, these are things we're doing every day, and we're trying to come up with a fix to the problem, and that was the fix.
Thank you for joining the Newsfeed at noon. We'll see you next week.